she's won this. And I said to him, she's going to take every one of the swing states plus Iowa. And he said, oh, but the numbers are so close. I said, I'm a political analyst. I'm telling you right now, the numbers are there. She's taking this election. So, as you know, Kamala Harris did not win the election.
Somebody out there found a gem that we wanted to share with you because just watch it and then we'll discuss. Take a look.
We're closing in on almost 5 p.m. Eastern time, and I've been tracking everything that's been going on across the country today. And my most important encounter was when I went out to get my champagne. I was talking to the guy in the store, of course, asking him, did he vote? And he said he did early voting, and he asked me if I early voted. And he asked me, why I was getting the champagne. And I said, because I'm going to be toasting Madam President tonight. And he just looked at me with kind of like a smirk on his face. And I said, she's going to win this, right? And he says, oh, well, it's very, very close. And I said, no, it's not. He says, well, what do you mean? I said, no, it's not. The women of America are making their voices heard. Reproductive rights is what it all comes down to. And the women are voting in numbers relative to men that are unbelievable. She's won this. And I said to him, she's going to take every one of the swing states plus Iowa. And he said, oh, but the numbers are so close. I said, I'm a political analyst. I'm telling you right now, the numbers are there. She's taking this election. And then I said to him, you realize, and he didn't tell me who he voted for, but of course I knew. And I said, you do realize you wasted your vote, right? And I didn't care. I walked out with my bottle of champagne and happily walked home. Bye-bye.
I want you to etch this woman's face and expression in your mind right now. And I know that the voice and that cackle is already going to be the stuff of nightmares for you. You'll never forget that moment right there. That exchange that she recounts at this humble dude at the grocery store where she went to get her bottle of champagne, who was, incredibly understated and humble and just saying, oh, really? Because it sure seems close and and that arrogance, that pomposity that you just got there. And I didn't ask him who he voted for, but I knew this is everything. And by the way, that just wait, because there's a great second chapter to this video that we'll show you in a second. But I just want you to know who this is. This is Dr. Arlene. She calls herself Dr. Arlene Unfiltered at arleneunfiltered.com. She is your leading source for all things politics, government, and elections. Sign up for the Elections Masterclass at arleneunfiltered.com. That's right. And she's got a bigger following on TikTok, but we don't like that odious website. So we're just going to keep it right here on X if we could. But I'm dying to see exactly how much the masterclass costs so you can be a brilliant, sharp political analyst like Dr. Arlene. By the way, I assure you, she is not a medical doctor in any way whatsoever. You go over to her house, you sprain your ankle, you cut yourself on a knife in the kitchen, you are dead. She can't even administer first aid. She's not that kind of doctor. But boy, she's the kind of doctor that makes sure everyone calls her doctor because she got her PhD in something stupid. Just like Jill Biden, who has to be called Dr. Jill everywhere. Well, she's Dr. Arlene Unfiltered, and she's offering you an elections masterclass so you can be as smart as her. Now, we all know how Dr. Arlene's masterclass political analyst worked out after she left the grocery store with her bottle of champagne and went home getting ready for her toast to Madam President. We know how it ended. So now let's watch how Dr. Arlene relayed the end of this story to her audience.
So, as you know, Kamala Harris did not win the election. As the numbers stand right now, there were 18 million fewer votes than in 2020. And as I have said all along, you have to have a huge, huge turnout, and it goes to the Dems. And we didn't have it. There is one fundamental thing that you cannot account for when you're using data to predict or project the outcome of an election, is you can't factor in the impact of racism or the existence of racism and misogyny.
Oh, there it is. Oh, glorious. Glorious. Okay. It looks like Dr. Arlene, who teaches the master class in elections, may have gotten this one wrong, but understand you can crunch the numbers and look at the data and use your PhD in political science to analyze this as much as you can, but you'll never fully be able to read between the lines and recognize the inherent racism and sexism that's baked in the cake. I mean, it's how glorious must it be to be on the left? To be and I imagine this woman is basically representative of every single liberal arts professor on every single major college campus in this country, except for Hillsdale and the military academies, although those are not liberal arts colleges. That's who she is. This is who, when you spend 40, 50, 60, 80,000 a year on your kids' tuition, this is who's teaching them. And every time they're wrong about something, it's racism. It's sexism. Is that not just glorious and revealing? She's got the sads, but it's certainly not because of her and her misunderstanding the American people and what's fundamental in this election. No, it's because she hadn't factored in the racism, which, I don't know, something tells me that racism and sexism and misogyny is kind of like every other word out of her mouth when she does political analysis. So it's pretty remarkable to me that this woman is now saying, yeah, I didn't think about the racism. Honey, that's all you think about. That is all you think about. But when she goes to her master class students, that's what she'll tell them. She'll tell them that what happened this week can all be written off to racism and sexism, which of course is curious. I'm not so sure that that would be a proper education that the students are getting at Dr. Arlene's political master class, because, well, the data coming out of this election kind of runs counterintuitive to that thesis.
Yeah, Trump was able to make Texas more red because he was really able to expand his coalition. Take a look at this exclusive data you will only see right here on ABC 13. What we're going to do right now is highlight just how Latin men in the state voted. They actually split and went for Trump. And this is huge because this is the first time he's ever won this demographic. He got 53% of their vote compared to Harris's 46%. Here's a breakdown of how Latino women in the state voted. It was nearly an even 50-50 split with just a slight edge to Kamala Harris. But again, this is Donald Trump making huge gains here and really eroding away a demographic that usually has strong support for the Democrats. Even here, when we look at how black men in Texas voted, Trump was able to get about a third of their vote. Now, take a look at these graphs that show how these numbers fell back in 2020 among these demographics to how all the numbers settled last night. Among black men, Trump has improved his support by nearly 20 points. Latin men by 15 points. Latin women by 12 points. This next graph here breaks it down by age. And just look at this. Trump has made nearly a 30-point advantage again with young men. I will say that again. Trump has made nearly a 30-point gain or an improvement with young men. So it shows how going on Joe Rogan, going on many of these podcasts really helped him. And despite Democrats hoping abortion would bring young women out to the polls and vote for Kamala Harris, well, we're actually seeing here in Texas, Trump gain support even among them. Now here in Texas, about 10% of the electorate identifies as LGBTQ. Trump won a a third of that vote, something many people wouldn't expect to see. This exclusive exit poll data is also telling us that many Texans are just fed up. They're frustrated. Financially, they are very worried. So look at this question when it comes to, do you want to see substantial change when it comes to politics? About a third of Texans said they actually do. They do want to see change. So it just shows you that this was a change election, and people are hoping that Trump is going to make dramatic changes when he moves back into the White House.
Dr. Arlene, it appears that voters of every race, of both sexes, I was about to say every sex, but where there's only two, of every race, of both sexes, of religions and faith across the board, as well as even people who identify as lesbian or gay, he made strides, and all age demographics as well. He made historic gains in every single one of those categories in this election, making him actually the Republican president, which has the broadest and most diverse and most inclusive electorate that has put him in the White House in our nation's history. And yet you have reduced his victory down to sexism and racism. Dr. Arlene, if we could, we just got to check back in with her. Can you please give us your commentary and your explanation on that?
And then I said to him, you realize, and he didn't tell me who he voted for, but of course I knew. And I said, you do realize you wasted your vote, right? And I didn't care.
Thanks, Dr. Arlene. Keep up the great, great work you're doing over there. Really. Doctor. Hey, for those of us who have been holding our breath right up until Tuesday night when we got the results, we can now exhale, right? We can now get to work. We can do something about the major issues this country is facing. And one of the most significant issue is our national debt. The fact is, our nation is broke, and the debt is a house of cards that can't quickly be dismantled. So the strategy remains the same. You got to diversify your savings. So many things are out of control, out of our president's control too. It's important to have a safe haven for your savings. Birch Gold Group is going to help you convert an IRA or 401k into an IRA in physical gold. And the best news is it doesn't cost you a penny out of pocket. In fact, in a second, I'm going to tell you I can get some extra free money in your pocket from Birch Gold. First, you want to text my name, Larry, Larry. How do I spell this? Larry to 989898. And they're going to send you a free info kit on gold. And then right now, listen to this. Through Black Friday, you're going to receive a free 1-ounce silver eagle for every $5,000 purchased. That's incredible. Diversify your savings with Birch Gold. Text Larry to 989898 and claim your eligibility for free silver today.